So, hi, Dr. Tong.
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, and thank you so much for your time today. So, to begin with, I think everyone probably very curious about your background. So, maybe if you can just give us a short intro on your background.
Right, well, I suppose I was born in Hong Kong, and my family moved to the UK when I was actually pretty small. So I've essentially grown up in the UK, did all my schooling there, went to medical school there, and actually did all my training in the UK. So I've been pretty much a UK person.
And I understand that you've been working your way up to become the consultant for the emergency department in the UK NHS hospital before working and living in Shenzhen.
Yes, so I've been there for a long time, and as I said, the formal training program in the UK for emergency medicine, and I'd been a consultant for almost 20 years, emergency physicians. So we had responsibility for about 300 trainees in our region.
Really, I'm quite curious, what makes you want to become an emergency doctor rather than any other specialties?
It wasn't an active choice. So I had my family quite young, and actually initially I had tried to go into family medicine or general practice because it was the quickest way of actually being settled. I sort of knew that it wasn't really what I really sort of quite enjoyed, which was internal medicine.
Right.
So I switched specialty training, and then after a while it became fairly obvious, actually first to my wife before it became obvious to me, that I really quite enjoyed the acute presentation. Well, I was basically looking for a specialty where I was going to see patients acutely, but without very long ward rounds and doing lots of clinics. And actually, it was my wife reminded me, you really enjoyed doing emergency medicine. So that's how I eventually decided, going into emergency medicine.
So just curious, is it really the real life being an emergency doctor? Is it, because we all know there's a very classic TV series called ER, and then we have some modern ones obviously, but I think the very classic one is ER, and then since ER I think people really enjoy watching the episodes about emergency. Is it quite similar to the TV showing?
I hate to say, to some extent it is. I think certainly that a lot of what the cases that come through the TV programs, they are based on a lot of things that have been seen in real life. Obviously the concentration of what comes through is not the same, because they have to put everything into 1 hour.
Yeah, that's right.
So it seemed a lot more dramatic than it might otherwise be. But we get some very interesting cases that come through. So
I understand you had a really great training in the UK before, and then to being specialized in ER, and then working as an ER consultant for many years before you actually we're meeting here. So what actually makes you had the opportunity to think, I want to come to work in Asia, or maybe in particular in mainland China, if you don't mind sharing that?
I suppose my career has always been a slightly non-standard. So I was actually coming to the end of my time as overseeing the training of the junior doctors, and I'd also been the head of our department, and felt like both of those were coming to a natural end. So I really was looking for a new opportunity, a new challenge. Actually, United Family Hospital had come to London to run a one-day seminar about healthcare in China, and this was just before COVID. So I went down just because it was interesting, and then this job in Shenzhen came up, and so I thought, that's interesting, and having had a connection with United Family Hospital, and obviously because I was born in Hong Kong, I thought it would be quite interesting to be closer to where I was born.
Right.
And my sister lives in Hong Kong as well. So all of that combined meant that this felt like a really, really interesting opportunity. To do something a bit different.
I see. I think you're very brave, because a lot of people like myself, because of family, I can move back, and also I can, there's no language barrier. So how you overcome those barriers, or have you gone through some interesting times that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've actually quite overcome those barriers just even now. So, yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge really was the fact that I arrived towards the end of COVID. So this was back in 2022.
Yep.
And there were still restrictions then. So actually, my arrival in China was delayed by about 6 months. So when I arrived, I obviously didn't have a Chinese SIM card, and everything works around the Chinese phone number. So I had great difficulty trying to get internet access when I was in the airport because you had to scan a QR code.
Yes.
And even when there were a lot of QR codes that you scanned and they wouldn't be recognized because I had a foreign phone number. So I couldn't access those things at all.
Yeah.
So in the end, and I didn't speak the language, I sort of ended up being on a bus and I wasn't entirely sure that I was on the right bus to be taken straight from the airport because I landed in Shanghai.
So what actually opportunities in China that you find most surprises you about, or actually after you've been here for 3 years, more than 3 years, how do you find China in general, and what surprised you the most?
About China, I think certainly in Shenzhen, because obviously this is where I spent most of my time. It is definitely technologically very advanced, and even in comparison to London, there's so much that happens here that still doesn't happen really anywhere else consistently in the UK. So the fact that, in fact, actually, I have. Because everything works through your phone, and I've completely got out of the habit of taking a wallet with me.
Yeah.
To the point where in the UK, a few times now, I've gone out.
You just bring your phone.
I haven't got my wallet. At one time, I actually went to fill my car up with petrol, and I didn't have my phone. So I had to speak very nicely to the guy at the petrol station to say, look, I've accidentally come out without my wallet. I left in my watch as a sort of collateral so that I could go and find my son and ask to borrow his his card so that I could pay for the petrol. Yeah. So that's been interesting, and then really a lot of the fact that obviously payments are done through the phone, and actually seeing how a lot of deliveries are done even now by drones has been really amazing. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that is definitely very much more advanced than the infrastructure in the UK.
I see. How do you find the healthcare system between UK and China? How do you find? Are there any similarities, or are there any big differences?
Well, I guess the similarities are that there's similar sorts of patients, similar presentations. So what we have in the UK is essentially the sorts of patients that we have in China. Differences, there are some things actually that happen in China that are probably way ahead of a lot of other places. So the management of things like stroke, actually I think China is probably leading the way in the world, both in terms of practice but also in terms of research as well. So that's there are some really good things going on. Some of the things which I think could be better, maybe a more consistent use of evidence. So in some respects it's a bit easier in the UK because the UK is so much smaller, and actually it's almost like the UK is the equivalent of a province in China. So you wouldn't expect the whole of Europe to do everything exactly the same.
I see.
So in that respect, we shouldn't expect China to do everything exactly the same. But within a province, there might be a bit more standardization that goes on about pathways and how to do things. For me, one of the I suppose biggest frustrations is that as a doctor in the UK, once I've qualified, I can basically do anything I like. Whereas here, there are additional steps that you have to take to do certain things like being able to prescribe vaccinations or prescribe narcotic drugs. So that's been an interesting thing to have to get around.
That's good. So what was your biggest worry before you moving to China?
Language. Well, I suppose I was being a bit naive because I sort of thought that because I do speak a little bit of Cantonese from when I was very small, and I thought that because Shenzhen was quite close to Hong Kong, that it might be fairly useful.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been as useful as I thought that it was going to be.
Yeah. But do you have any aids or tools that help you to overcome or help to improve the situation?
Yes.
Ease your worry?
Well, obviously now we have these digital aids, and the phones that you can get a translation tool on your phone, and so they've been very, very helpful, and certainly allowed me to do certain things, like registering with the police. So as a foreigner with a temporary residence permit, you have to register with the police every time you change your address. And so the HR actually helped me when I first arrived, and then when I moved out, I then had to sort of do it myself. So that's been having the use of technology. It certainly makes life a lot easier when you have to do things. Having said that, actually, because so much happens on your phone and online, you can actually get by without having to say very much to people, which is great if you don't quite have the language, but I guess it could be a bit socially isolating. When you can actually live a lot of your life without having to talk to other people.
I see. Good to know. So now you're here and living for more than 3.5 years, and then which I think you're really brave. Because of the language, you just mentioned the language, and it's not as easy as we all thought it would be. When you look back, was it the right decision? If you think about.
I mean, I think in life, you have to take your opportunities, and it's been great. There's been some challenges, but I don't think there's any experiences wasted. And you have to live life.
And I think that gives us an opportunity to see how China it is right now than what people think China will be. And I think without coming here, actually working and feel for it, we actually wouldn't know that actually China develops so fast. That we wouldn't actually get those information as much as it could be without we actually feeling it ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes obviously in the West we can often get a bit of a one-sided view of what China's like, and I can see there are a lot of CCTV cameras around, but it's a safe city. Everybody that I talk to, they all say this is so safe. And I guess because people are being watched. Or there's a potential that people are being watched. And I sort of think, well, if you're not aiming to cause trouble, there's no concern about being watched.
Exactly. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Tong, for sharing us about the coming to China, and thank you for watching my channel, and then we can share a bit more in our next episode. Thank you.